Okay, so in example 4 we looked at looking at interest being compounded annually, semi-annually. So the last two parts of the example we're going to look at looks at interest being compounded on a quarterly and monthly basis. So far what we noticed is that when you change the compounding period from annual to semi-annual, what ends up happening is that the accumulated amount over time actually increases. So let's just say we wanted to figure out how much interest you earned in total over the span of 4 years. So to actually figure out how much interest was earned, what you'll notice is that the amount of money that was invested, so the amount that we invested in the account and we left in there over a span of 4 years and that gained money over time, was $2,300. So that's the only amount of money that was invested. The amount of money that you have at the end of the 4 years is $2,903.70. So the difference between the amount that you invest and the amount that you have at the end of 4 years, or your accumulated amount, the difference between these actually represents the amount of interest that you earned. Because all that extra money that's in the account now comes from interest that was earned from your investment. So the interest that was earned in the first part would be $2,903.70 approximately, minus the amount that was invested initially. And so in total you would have about $603.70 in interest. Now if we compare that to what happens when you invest semi-annually, we'll do the same thing, accumulated amounts. Oops. So the accumulated amount minus the initial amount that was invested. So $2,913.57 minus the amount that was invested initially, or the principal amount. You get an interest amount that was earned in total of $613.57. So you'll notice that you earn about $10, almost $10 more in interest when you compound interest semi-annually. Now, Part C and Part D of the same problem look at interest being compounded quarterly and then monthly. And let's see if it makes a difference if you compound interest more frequently or if it's about the same thing. Okay, so let's take a look at Part C. Okay, so we're looking at interest being compounded quarterly, and because I know it's compounded interest, I'm going to start with the compound interest formula. And I represents the interest rate per compounding period. So I know I'm getting 6% per year, but interest is compounded 4 times a year since it's quarterly. So that means I'm going to divide by 4 and I'll get 0.015. So that's the interest rate that you get every quarter of the year. And the number of compounding periods will change. You're getting interest 4 times a year, and you've invested for 4 years. So in total, you're going to get interest 16 times. So that's the number of compounding periods. Interest is going to be earned 4 times a year for 4 years, for a total of 16 times. Now if I substitute in the information that I know, I get 1.015 to the exponent 16. And again, if you compare this to what we had previously, the growth ratio is actually a little bit smaller, but the number of times interest is compounded is actually a little bit higher. And so let's see what that does to our total accumulated amount. So 2,300 times 1.015 to the exponent 16 gives me $2,918. $2,918 and about 67 cents. So this is approximately